Hey folks, well welcome once again to another scintillating episode of Smarter Money Matters. It really does. Today we're talking about, should you hold a money meeting with your family every quarter? If so, here's how to lead yours. Of course, I'm Dr. Jeff Camarda, joined by our super CFPs, Lou and Anna. So let's get right to it, guys. So today I'd like to start with a question that most people really don't ask themselves often enough. And when is the last time you actually sat down with your family to talk about money on purpose? Not because something went wrong, not because there's a big expense, but just to check in and get a handle on where you were going. For most people, that conversation either doesn't happen or it only happens when things really hit the fan. Right, Anna?
Yeah, and that's really the core of the problem. Most people don't avoid money conversations because they don't care about money. They avoid them because there's no structure to have them. It's something reactive rather than something intentional.
Gotcha.
And when it's reactive, it's almost always tied to emotion, and it's tied to disagreements, surprise expenses, or something that didn't go as planned. So the conversation starts in a negative place before it even begins.
That's uncomfortable, isn't it? So let's start there. Why do people avoid having regular money conversations, even when they probably should be having them more often?
I think a big part of it is discomfort. If someone isn't comfortable talking about money or talking about where they are financially, they don't want to bring additional attention to it, to their family members, partners, whoever that may be. And it's easier, it's risk avoidance, right? It's easier to avoid that conversation that's uncomfortable than have it.
That's right. Why delve into the unpleasantness?
Well, I'll add there's also fear of conflict. People assume that it is going to bringing up money is going to turn into an argument. So instead of dealing with the possibility, they just avoid it altogether.
They don't want to take the social risk. So avoiding it feels safer in the moment, but that, of course, doesn't solve anything, does it, Anna?
Yeah, and in reality, it just delays the important conversation. It makes it harder when you actually have to deal with it in the future, right? When that issue with money comes up and is in your face. You're not just dealing with one issue now, you're dealing with how everything in your financial life, compounds from that.
What's the real impact of that? What actually happens when people don't have these conversations regularly, Lou?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think the biggest issue is misalignment. You've got people in the same household who think completely different things are happening financially. One person thinks everything is fine, the other might be worried, and neither one knows what the other one is thinking.
Gotcha.
And I think that misalignment that Lou's talking about shows up in decision making, spending decisions, saving decisions, long-term planning. If everyone's not on the same page, then it's not coordinated. So even if both people think, they have good intentions or working towards the same goal, they think, if they're not communicating, they're not actually moving in the same direction.
So it's not just about the numbers, it's about the clarity?
Exactly, right? If you're not talking about money, if it's not in the front of your mind, you're not really being intentional with it. And then over time, that lack of clarity can create real problems.
All right, so let's make this practical. And I'll say, with you, if somebody listening wants to start doing this, what does a real money meeting actually look like? How do you structure it? What are we really talking about, Anna?
Yeah, it should be simple, right? It should be basic. It should be a conversation where you're just first creating awareness, starting with a few questions, like where are we at financially? What's coming up in the future that we need to plan for? Maybe a trip or home repairs, something like that. And then checking in. Are we on track with what we said we wanted to do?
Yeah, and I think one of the most valuable questions you can ask is, what surprises this month?
Such as?
Well, because there's uncovered things people don't notice in real time. Spending pattern, unexpected costs, habits that are starting to form. The question alone can give you a lot of insight.
Yes, and that shifts the conversation from blame to awareness, hopefully.
Exactly. So you're not pointing fingers at your partner, your spouse, your family, right? You're understanding what's happening, and it's a lot easier to have a productive conversation.
Gotcha. So let me ask something I think a lot of people are probably thinking, at this point in the video. How do you keep these conversations from turning into arguments?
Yeah, like with our clients that we work with, right? It's about establishing the goal. The goal is not to be right or to prove a point. If that starts to come up in the conversation, things are going in the wrong direction. But if the goal is to understand the finances and improve them, then that tone is completely different.
Yeah, and I think the language matters more than people realize. Instead of saying, you're spending too much money. You say something
How
like,
does that work when you tell your wife?
well, exactly. There you go. So, here's what we spent. Instead of saying you spent too much money, here's what we spent.
Honey, this is where we really need to cut back.
Yeah, absolutely. So that small shift makes a big difference.
So you're focusing on the facts, not the person.
Exactly. Talking in we language. And then keeping it short. It doesn't need to be a long, drawn-out meeting. Maybe just taking 15, 20, 30 minutes every month to talk about it.
Yeah, cool. Absolutely. I think consistency matters a lot more than length. So, having a short conversation every month is far more efficient and effective than having a big conversation only once a year.
Gotcha. So let's, take a big picture view for a second. Why does this matter long term? We're talking about this month, this gas bill, you bought too much cookies, whatever. And why does it matter?
Well, we know this working as advisors, but financial decisions compound over time. So making sure you're aligned, that you're doing things the same way can have a big impact because you can make adjustments now than waiting until the future when there's a problem. If you're checking in regularly, it helps you and your household not drift off course.
Yeah, it's not just financial, it's also it's relational, right? So when people are aligned financially, there's less stress, fewer surprises, better decision making overall. I mean, it just kind of all blends together.
You work better as a team, right?
Absolutely.
So here's a big takeaway, right? You don't need a perfect system. You don't need all the answers. Nobody ever has them. You just need to start with the conversation and look at ways to improve.
Yeah, and I think staying consistent is important, right? As you're consistently having these meetings, there will be more clarity.
Yeah. And that clarity leads to better decisions and better outcomes.
Well, guys, thanks for listening. We'll come rapidly to an end of yet another, exciting Smarter Money Matters moment. Until next time, this is Jeff, Anna, and Lou. Thanks so much for watching.